Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Hey, welcome back, everybody. If you find yourself in life kind of stuck, things aren't really moving forward in terms of your relationships, maybe your job situation isn't what you want it to be. You know there's more out there for you, but it's not happening right now. Or you think that you should be making more money, abundance, and that's not really happening. Maybe it's because your heart is closed. Now, I don't mean that physically. I mean that energetically. It's a big thing. It's a game changer for many of us. And who do you call to change that situation? Not a cardiologist. You call somebody who does energy work. And I found somebody who's fantastic for you. She's a practitioner of energy work, Reiki, and so many other modalities, even hypnotherapy, which, by the way, was a game changer for me. So we'll get to all of that. Rima Wardini joins us today on the program. How you doing?
Hi, Steve. I'm doing great. And you?
I am good. And this whole closed heart thing, what do you mean by that? How do we define that? You know, I can put words to it, but you're the professional. How would you describe that?
Well, often enough, what happens with our society right now is that we're so mentally active, centrally activated. So we're often enough in the mental and physical and material things, but we're not truly and fully accessing what's really going on into the heart center. And what I mean by clogged or blocked is the disconnection with our own, our surroundings, meaning our loved ones. There's a disconnection that happens in order for us to kind of like reduce the amount of feelings or emotions. And there's a disconnect within ourselves. That's where everything starts. So it's that disconnect from our little voice, our inner voice that is within our heart and not with our mind. And this is where the confusion starts happening because we don't know what we're listening to anymore.
Is it true that a situation from our past, could be a challenging, traumatic situation from a relationship, maybe a divorce, things like that? Could that put up a wall within our heart and block even us making more money? And we don't even realize what's going on there?
Absolutely. And it goes beyond that. It doesn't go only from your past experiences. Often there's a lot of studies that have shown as well that there's also an interconnection of generations. So it's not only from what you've been living in this life or your past, it could even be from your mom's side, from your grandmother, and all these generations to come, and how to deal with all of this can be very hard. And it could be as simple as what your mom was going through her pregnancy while you were in the womb. And it's really deeper than we think. But I think the most important thing is to start with with the surface and understand that it's layers of onions that you're kind of breaking one by one. And you cannot do everything at the same time. It's a journey of a lifetime. And then that's where people think that there's one magic pill and you go in it and it's done. But it's the beauty of the journey that kind of like brings you to open your heart more and more and to make it like, those vases, the Japanese vases that get broken and then they kind of fill them up with gold.
Yes, it has a name, and I can't remember what it is.
It has a name, and yeah. I forgot the name, but it's exactly what happens with our heart. And you choose what to do with that shattering of the heart, and it's pretty fascinating.
Does it amaze you that with everything that we've gone through, all these things that we're talking about, even what your mom experienced while you were in the womb, maybe what your family experienced before that, does it amaze you that we're not more broken, messed up than we are?
Well, I think there's that's where the divine part of us comes in for me. That's where we're beings that have this spirit and that have this connection with a higher self that cannot necessarily be seen but can be felt. And I think our mission is when we are aware of this, we have the duty, and I think it's a responsibility that we have to go deeper and to really experience these things and to explore it, because we're all interconnected, Steve, right? So as soon as you're working on yourself, the amount of work that you're doing and helping other people around you is beyond. And I think this is what happens. That's why we're not as broken as you're saying, is because the work that each one of us is doing is helping everyone else around us.
Sure. And, I hate to say the word broken, and I never did in the past, but the more I see all of this and study it and work on it, we're a little broken. Like when you think about it, things that we went through in our childhood, I'm not talking like major traumatic things, although that could be it. There's cracks in our shell. That's kind of, my friend wrote a song, really cool folk song. That's kind of what he does. And there's words to a song that say, my core is still the same, but there's a few more cracks there in my shell. And that's kind of how I feel. You could, life happens, and get a little crack here, a little crack there, and you got to mend the crack. And then, but you're you overall.
Yeah. And the way that I like to think about it is that we are meant to crack. I don't think it's very hard for our spirit to be in such a very dense entity, dense body. And I think that's exactly what we're trying to do. By cracking, we're trying to expand more and more.
Yep.
And I think this is what's happening. And I think we should maybe just change or shift a bit the perspective of cracking being so negative.
Sure.
And saying, oh my God, we're just expanding. Maybe we should shift it or change that word of like the cracks as expansion.
Sure.
And this is what I'm understanding more and more. I think I'm at the surface of it. I'm experiencing it. But I would love people to just maybe change our perspective on it. And it would help the healing process much easier.
I totally understand. I got a visual of someone's driveway. You have cracks on the driveway. You can fill the cracks a little bit, but it's not really that effective. So you change the driveway, and now you put pavers in, and now it's even more beautiful. So that's kind of it's an opportunity to grow. And if the cracks weren't there, you wouldn't have this beautiful looking driveway with Italian pavers, and it just looks wow, that looks amazing, as opposed to just a cement driveway or an asphalt driveway. To help somebody move things forward, and centering back here on the heart and what's blocking all of this, how do you get that done? There's different modalities that you can use, right?
Absolutely. There's different modalities, and there's not one that works for everyone. I think the beauty of this is to really know that there's so many different ones. And it could go from energy work like Reiki, and there's different Reiki techniques as well. Like there's not just one Reiki technique. There's different ones. There's hypnotherapy can help. And we have this bad influence about the hypnotherapy. People are kind of like, it's taboo and they're going to be controlled, and it has nothing to do with that. There's also functional medicine. Functional medicine, I do kinesiology, which kind of like listens to the body and the body's vibration in order to see what it needs at that moment in time. And there's meditations, there's exercise, yoga. Being in nature can open the heart a lot, actually. And when I say being in nature, having your feet on the ground and connecting to that earth, you're connecting with your own heart center. It does not have to be complicated. I think what's more complicated is to find your own recipe. But until you find your own recipe, you're going to have to try different. And that's okay. That's fine.
I totally get it. And it took me a journey, and we're all, the journey continues for all of us.
Absolutely.
But the discovery, I didn't realize how much I loved being outside. Yeah, I kind of knew, but I didn't realize how therapeutic it is and was, and how impactful what a difference it makes. And I believe that we don't realize it. We just don't realize, it's always been that phrase like, hey, getting back into nature. And you look at it like, all right, you're going to walk in the woods. Well, big deal. It's not about just walking in the woods. It's about what you experience and how you feel. Very short story here. but I sold a house in between houses now. I used to go in the backyard, renovated the whole thing, would just, landscape and be out there. Never wore shoes. I have the dirtiest feet on the planet because I loved it. And then I sold the house, and then I something was missing and I didn't figure it out. So I'm with a group that does some community service, and there was a family where they were having surgery and cancer treatment, and they bought mulch and they were going to redo their backyard or just, clean it for the spring, and they never got to it. So me and 10 men went into the backyard and redid everything, and I'm there on my hands and knees, I'm pushing the mulch, and I'm like deep into it, and the owner of the home comes up, just welling his eyes, about to cry. He's like, "Thank you so much. Thank you. My family appreciates it." And I'm like, "Thank you for allowing me to be crawling in your backyard, because I can't do that at this moment, and I'm the happiest man on the planet. Just give me more mulch." Oh. Because of the way it makes you feel, and to your point of grounding. And I could lift it up here. I've got a grounding mat my foot is on right now.
Amazing. What's that?
$20.
Great. I would love to hear all about it, Steve, because these are little, and we don't realize it's because we're so bombarded with so much technology around us, and
Yes.
the noise is not a natural noise that we're subconsciously hearing. We need to be more in our true selves and connecting to who we truly are, where we come from. We come from ashes anyway, so this is where we need to reconnect. And I think it's great to be in such a technology has brought so many things.
Yes.
We're able to do what we're doing today, but we also need to balance everything, and I'm all about balancing this. I'm all about balancing everything. You need to have an equilibrium within, and I do have a very scientific background. I never thought I would be in the spiritual world myself. So having these two, it gives even more power, because I have the capacity to kind of move from one place to another and to kind of together. And what you're saying about nature is crucial, and it's simple.
I know.
And it's simple. And nature can be as easy as getting flowers at home, being surrounded by beautiful flowers. It could be essential oils, it could be crystals, it could be anything that you could just add into your life and connect to, that will help without you having to do much.
Yeah, I never thought of that. And I have crystals, here, take a free stick of selenite if you like.
Okay.
But I never realized, until you just said that, where do they come from? Nature.
Exactly.
And I had an epiphany the other day, talking with somebody, an herbalist, that everything we do, everything that supports us, comes from the earth. Everything you eat or should eat, I'm not talking about the chemicals and all that stuff. I'm talking about your fruits, your vegetables. Even if you eat meat, the animal, well, where did they eat? They grazed off the land that came from the dirt. There is something there, and I'm putting the pieces together myself here. Tell us about your background. You mentioned science and all of that, and we're going to get into the modalities today and along the way as we talk in future podcast, hypnotherapy, Reiki, all of that. But tell us about you. How did you get to this point?
How did I get to this point? Well, actually, I knew from a very, very young age that I was meant to help people. I didn't know how, I didn't know where, I didn't know when. I had a few encounters, I could tell you, with angelic realms when I was young, but it was very scary for me. And I traveled through my dreams, and I didn't know that I was traveling through my dreams. So a lot of things were happening when I was young, but I didn't know what it was. So it scared me and I blocked it. But I knew I wanted to go somewhere where I could help people. And I started my path into clinical rehabilitation through exercise programs for chronic disorders. So I did my bachelor's degree, I did my master's degree, and I was working a lot with people with cardiac diseases, cardiovascular diseases, pulmonary diseases, neurological diseases. And as I was going through all of this, I went through my own path of a lot of pain. I lost my stepdad at a young age, who was amazing for me. That was my first real heartbreak that I could tell you. And I went through a very difficult divorce after having given birth to my daughter. She was 3 years old, and it was a very difficult divorce, extremely difficult, where I felt my entire world was shattering, and I had to go back to studying, but I couldn't. I went through psychotherapy. I did everything, but I couldn't go to the bottom of things. I couldn't understand why I was going through the same patterns of losing men in my life. And it was very particular because my dad was never really present when I was younger. So I was creating a pattern of I wasn't understanding. And my sister, my baby sister, kind of spoke to me about this beautiful angel that came into my life that I call my spiritual mom, Shemaya. And the first session that I had with her was life changing, Steve. And she did Reiki on me, and I didn't know what Reiki was. And she's the one who kind of opened the path towards my true and healing. And I'm still working at it. And it's a never ending process. But then she's the one who told me, you have to do your master's Reiki. You're going to use it. And I'm like, in science, I'm never going to use this. She's like, no, you're going to use it. And through this path, I was able to start my own practice and to practice it on myself. And my poor daughter had to go through the practice as well. And that opened other doors. And that's when I went into Tsifa and I did different energy work. And then I went into functional medicine. And it's, when one door opens, you have to trust that the process will never be what you think. And I always say, man plans and God laughs. Because it's never as we think, right? When we're like younger, we have these plans and we're like, and I would have never thought that I would be where I am right now. And it's just trusting. Every time I was holding on too tight, everything was blocking. And as soon as life tells me to just let go and just trust, everything was opening. And I think goes with our heart as well. It's like when we feel constricted, nothing can move. Our heart is blocked and we can't just trust. And then as soon as something drastic happens that forces you to let go, there's moments where you're like, whatever, just do whatever you need to do, universe, do whatever you need to do. I can't take it anymore. This is too much. Then the doors open. That's exactly what happened. So it's just flowing with those doors that close and understanding that these doors are not meant for you. So it's leading you towards something. And the difficulty is that we don't see. We don't see where it's leading us.
I completely understand and get what you just said. And I'm not agreeing with you to agree with you.
No.
Lived it. Living it. 100%. You're speaking my words. Like I totally, everything you're saying. I'm a single dad. I get everything that you're saying there. And there's a phrase that goes just go with the flow. Go with the flow.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? To me, it means, and I want your definition. Picture a river, and you're floating in the river, and the current is taking you. But you're not, I don't know if I want to go where the river's taking me. I'm not really sure. So then you fight the current and you start going this way, but you're not going to win. The river, the current is the universe, and you're going that way whether you want to or not. You're going to make a detour. Oh, wait, there's a log. Let me grab that log. I'm going to hold on to it for a little while. Well, fine. And you may go a little, sideways down the river and maybe over on this corner over here. You're taking the long way because there's only one way, and it's not for us always to determine. It's whatever the plan is, and that's fight it if you wish. And even in the relationship thing, I totally get it. I just get it. I used to meet women that had a lot of anxiety. I'm like, what's going on with the anxiety? I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. Why me? And then I thought about it. My mom had anxiety, and I'm like, that kind of, and I had a great relationship with my mom. She passed 5 years ago. I get signs from her, very detailed ones. I've talked about it here, very detailed. I don't doubt that her energy is not around. But I think that's why, I'm sending out a signal here. I'm here to help you with your anxiety, and then they would show up. And that goes back to the energy thing, and we can talk about that, in depth at some point. What you're throwing out there, it's coming back to you. Like They always said, even your parents, be careful of what you ask for because you're going to get it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And forcing it, the universe will put your face to the wall and tell you, are you ready to change this? Because I'm going to give you more. You want more? You didn't understand the lesson? Well, I'm going to give you more.
Right.
And it's not against us, it's for us. And there's a big breakthrough when the big breakthrough happens. And there's this big aha moment. And you're like, oh my goodness, thank you. Thank you for every single person you put in my path, for every single relationship I went through, for every single mentor I had, for every single pain that I got. But when you're in it, it's very difficult to see.
Yep.
And that's where the trust needs to come in. And it's exhausting to keep on swimming against the current. It's exhausting. That's when anxiety happens. And that's when depression is happening. That's why it's happening so much, because we're constantly swimming against the current. And now it's very fast. We're in a very fast speed. So things are happening extremely fast. So we don't have the same luxury of time that we used to have. I don't know if you're feeling the same way, but
oh gosh,
I just feel it's just,
I just sent a text to somebody. It said, I have so many things I need and want to do, and there's just so many things that are going, and then things change. I'm going to adjust this and I'm going to do that. But I can say this, and I want you to tell me how you feel. Once you get to this spot, and again, it's an evolution. It's never a done deal. You're always evolving on a journey. Once you figure many things out, do you feel that you have clarity in knowing what you want? Like with making it crystal clear. Like, I know what I want. I know who I want. I know I got it. It's clear. It's just need to bring it here. Need to work on it. Do you feel that way?
Absolutely. I do. I would just, when I feel I don't see the clarity. I feel it.
Yeah.
I feel it. It just feels good. It just feels like, although I don't have the exact picture of where I'm going, but I have the exact feeling that I'm feeling. And I think this is where the heart center goes in. What are you feeling? If it doesn't feel right, it's not the past. It's not because you're difficult. No, it's your heart telling you, no, just adjust a bit, because most probably this is where you need to go. And that's where we need to go back into this. How am I feeling? How am I feeling? And I could tell you, Steve, I have no idea where I'm going. I have no idea. I'm fully trusting. I'm like, show me the steps that you need me to take in order for me to be at service of my brothers and sisters, and give me the tools and what I need. I don't want to be focusing on, okay, I need this amount of money to just bring it. That's what I need. Bring it to me.
Well, many who say they figured it out, that's how it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
and we have trouble asking, Steve.
Well, that's a whole other podcast. Feeling that you deserve things, and then of course gratitude and all of that. I call it the quiet calm too. Just it's going to be okay. Takes time to get there. And the biggest challenge, to your point, with life and everything, we're so accustomed. I call it the Amazon world. One button, it's here by 2 p.m.
Absolutely.
In most areas. This doesn't work that way. And it's work. I'm sorry to say it. Everything is work. Planning the weekend coming up. I'm like, it's going to be a nice weekend. I don't want to waste the weekend. There's only a few warm ones left. Getting people together and what we work. It's good work, fun work, but even breathing, proper breathing. It's work, meditation. It's all of that.
Absolutely. And I didn't talk about breathing. That's crucial.
It's crucial
to alignment.
Yeah. It's like walking in the woods. We don't realize how important it is, but that's where you come in. We're out of time. So much to talk about. Next time we get together, and if this is resonating and they have a question, they want to kind of feel things out, talk about how your energy works, how do they find you?
They could go on my website, Steve. They could go on www.wholestik.com, WHOLESTIK.com. and they could find me. They could also tap my name and they should find me as well. And I can't wait to get any messages or DMs or anything as well on Instagram or social
Awesome.
media. So I'm
Yeah.
also very present there.
And also, if you have a question, even the next time we get together, instant feedback, steve@gmail.com. Another way to reach us. Rima, great talking with you. There's no doubt in my mind that you're grounded in a wonderful
my
way.
best.
Yeah. And
Thank you.
looking forward next time we get together.
Thank you for having me, Steve. Have
Thank
a
you.
wonderful day.
You too. We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.